Namaste everyone, this is Jyothsna Hegde with NRI Pulse. Today we are here in this beautiful Alpharetta Webbridge Park talking to Ms. Jaya, who is the founder and managing trustee of Vedanta Vision. Thank you for talking to us, Jaya-ji.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So Jaya-ji, let's begin with this Vedanta Vision that you have founded. Tell us about how it came to be and what was your inspiration to form this Vedanta Vision.
I was introduced to Vedanta at a very young age and I benefited enormously from it. And so I thought other people don't treat Vedanta and the Bhagavad Gita as a technique of living which helps you to achieve extraordinary success, immense happiness within, and growth to our potential. So I decided to work full-time for just sharing this wonderful knowledge with people across the world. This is a science that is not restricted to Indians or Hindus. It's a universal knowledge that can be applied by any human being, anywhere in the world, at any period of time. The second thing is that the original texts are in Sanskrit, which were written many thousands of years ago, and the context has changed. Most of us don't know Sanskrit. So it needs not just translation, but it needs to be interpreted and presented to the present generation in a form that they can easily understand, apply, and benefit from. So that is what we are doing.
What year was the Vedanta Vision founded?
In the year 2000.
And I know that you're a microbiologist by vocation. So how did was there like this one thing that sort of transformed you and said, yes, now I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life?
I was exposed to Vedanta from early childhood. My mother and her parents took me to lectures by various swamis. And when I was around 21 and newly married, I was studying Swami Ramatirtha, reading his books. And I came across a sentence that was life-changing for me. He said, if you're not happy as you are, where you are, you will never be happy. And right then I wanted to change my environment. So this statement made me pause and think. And I did not change the environment. I said, let's go with what he's saying. Let me try and be happy as I am, where I am. And it worked. And so I said, if one idea works so much, what will not the entire knowledge give me? And so I decided to work full-time for it, to help spread this knowledge and develop myself both. And that's how my journey started.
So how long did it take for you to put this all together and sort of form the Vedanta Vision?
I was working for another organization and gained a lot of experience and knowledge there. And circumstances brought me to the state where I was on my way. And people around me said that you speak so well, why don't you continue? And so they helped form this organization and grow it. So since 2000, I've been coming to the US every year, and Atlanta for the last 4 or 5 years.
So let's begin with the Vedanta itself. In layman's terms, how would you define Vedanta?
It's like this. You may be a talented tennis player, but to become an outstanding tennis player, you have to first learn the rules of the game. Otherwise, you will innocently, out of ignorance, break the rules and not play tennis. Similarly, life is a game. You need to learn the rules of the game before you actually live that. So I would say Vedanta is about the rules of the game. It's about the technique of living. Living is an art, a skill that needs to be learned, practiced, and mastered. So if you don't know the basics, what happens is you innocently violate rules and then suffer. So all suffering in the world is because of wrong identification and attachment. Because we lack the knowledge. Once you know, at least you know where you're going wrong. And then you can correct by and by. And so that's in short what Vedanta is about. So it helps, for instance, relationships.
I was going to ask you about that.
Most of us have conflict with the people we love most.
Absolutely. In fact, we feel betrayal from the ones that we love most too.
Exactly. And we invariably blame the other person. We don't understand that there's something wrong in the love we have. So, what we call love is love, but it is tainted with selfishness. So, the form it takes is, yes, you love your family members, you love your friends, so on and so forth. But that love turns into expectations, unrealistic expectations. We make demands on them, and when these demands and expectations are not met with, as they will not be met with because they're unrealistic, you get frustrated, you get angry, and there is a confrontation, which often leads to breakup in relationships. So, Swami Ramatirtha put it emphatically when he was lecturing in America in 1902. He said, beware of attachment. Attachment means love plus selfishness. Wherever there is attachment, there is pain and suffering. And eventually the relationship will break up. So, if you treasure the people you love, you must find a way of true love, which is unconditional, where you say, I love you, irrespective of any return I get from you. And then people say, then what will happen to me? Wonderful things will happen. Because the other person will return the courtesy. You see, even dogs respond to love. Animals respond to love. Right? You may be a dog lover and you go to your friend's home. You may not know that your friend has a dog. But the moment you enter, the moment the dog sees you, the dog greets you warmly with affection. But if a person who's afraid of dogs enters, that dog's reaction is totally different. Now, if this is the case with dogs, how much more must it be with humans? So wherever we go, we spark negativity because of our wrong attitude.
Yeah. Because of our own, pretty much it's in our own.
Because of our obsession with ourselves. And this arises because of lack of self-sufficiency. It's like this. I am perfectly normal and I'm capable of standing on my own feet. But if I were to have polio in one leg, I would need a crutch all the time. This is what happens mentally. If mentally you're self-sufficient, you're quite comfortable being by yourself. But you have the luxury of establishing good relationships, where you're not dependent on the person, you're not leaning on the person. It is this leaning that causes friction. If somebody were to physically lean on you all the time, you'd say, get off my back, because you're uncomfortable. Same thing happens at the mental level. And we don't realize. So we say, oh, I love my son dearly, but why does he not want me? I love my spouse, why do I not get the same response? Maybe friend, whatever. So this is just one example where Vedanta helps. It helps at work, it helps you become creative, it helps you expand your vision, it gives you a great deal of energy, enthusiasm, excitement to work. Today, everyone is bored at work. Everyone looks forward to Friday evenings and not Monday mornings. Everyone wakes up saying, oh God, I have to work. This changes with Vedanta. And most importantly, you understand that the world and all that it has to offer is impermanent, passing, unavailable. And we are unconsciously looking for something more will always be with you. It never lets you down. It never leaves you. But where do you find this spirit? You don't see it. There is a technique of extracting spirit from matter, from the world. Just as there is a technique of extracting butter from milk. You don't see butter in milk. But there is a technique of extracting, which every Indian household knew a few generations back. We made butter at home.
Jayaji, we spoke about relationships. So one other thing, there's a rat race in today's world, right? Success. Everybody defines success so differently, but mostly it's a measure of your economic stability. It's the power that But how would you define success? And for someone to be, like you said, be happy at the place that they are, how must one, according to Vedanta, define success to be peaceful?
You said it. The very first thing that we need to understand is that material prosperity comes to you as a result of your developing merit, as a result of your working for a cause greater than yourself. But what we do is, our main purpose in life is to make money. That is the first mistake. So, like for instance, young people across the world want expensive brands, high-end brands, and they sometimes badger their parents for them. So I tell them, you've seen Federer, Nadal, all the greatest of basketball players or footballers wear the most expensive brands. Everything they wear is the most expensive brand. Do you think they've paid for it? No. They are paid a handsome amount to wear it at games. How does this happen? Because they have developed merit. Similarly, at the mental level, if you develop merit, you grow spiritually. The world comes to your feet. This is the significance of Ganesha having a whole lot of food in front of him. Material prosperity comes to a person who is spiritually enriched. In India, we had this concept of Raja Rishis. They were kings and queens, men and women of immense power and wealth. But this came as a result of inner enrichment. So, the thing to do is to develop merit, and the world prosperity will come to you. It comes as a byproduct, not as the main pursuit. You look at the most successful people in the world, they have really not been bothered about money. They have only sought excellence in their field. So it depends on what you work for. You work for money, you are myopic in your vision, you get little. You have a higher purpose, you work for something beyond yourself. The power of the entity that you work for then rests in you. You work for the nation, the national power rests in you. And the highest is when you don't work for either yourself or for anything in the world, you only work for the transcendental, that which is beyond. Eric Liddell, an athlete of outstanding caliber, an Olympic record setter, he was called the Flying Scotsman. He came from a missionary family and he took to athletics against his parents' wishes. So when they asked him, why are you taking to athletics? He said, God made me to run and I will run for God. Plain and simple. He did not have a coach. He didn't have enough money to invest in training or anything.
No connection.
No connection. But he set an Olympic record that was broken years later. So he would run the 400 meters very fast. And when people asked him, how do you manage that? He said, first 200 meters, I run as fast as I can. The balance 200 meters, God enables me to run. Same thing in India, there's Swami Haridas, classical musician. His student was Tanaji, who was Akbar's musician. Not Tanaji, sorry. I'll get it. So Akbar once asked his musician, you sing well, but I want to listen to your guru. He said, my guru won't come to your party. He said, doesn't matter, we'll go to your at his, wherever he is. So they went to a tiny village. There was a small temple. As they approached the temple, they heard the most exotic music. There was Swami Haridas speaking. No audience. Akbar stood outside, mesmerized by the music. And when he went back, he asked Tansen, you sing brilliantly, Tansen, but your guru has this edge over you. What's the difference? He said, very simple, Maharaj. I sing for you, he sings for me.
Yeah.
So this is how you get to perfection. And this concept of perfection is unique to the Indian culture. Some of them got there. They laid down a clear pathway to that goal. Simple, using a language that any child can understand. But the path is arduous, yes. But it depends on what you want. It's like you want to be a millionaire, you have to put in that effort. You're happy with a small salary, you don't need to put in that much effort. So the rewards are enormous. You get to the state of infinity, of perfection. And this is our heritage. And I feel that primarily every Indian must be proud of this heritage, must want to use this technique and share it with your fellow compatriots. Share it with the country of your adoption.
Speaking of success, then there's failure, right? So in today's world, failure is almost like, people don't take it well at all. It's, they don't understand that, it's, you keep trying and at some point you get somewhere. But, how does, or adversity, I think the tolerance for that is, I see, is so low. And people, in fact, I think most of the time it's because of that. We see all kinds of distractions and they find, ways to cheat only because they feel like they don't want the fear of failure. And so how does one, with the Vedantas and studying them, overcome, adversity or fear of failure itself? What does one do? How does one face and get up and go out there after being unsuccessful?
Yes, good question. The first thing is that we should understand that the world is a mix of pairs of opposites. So profit and loss, success, failure, joy, sorrow are part and parcel of life. And if you want to live life, you have to learn the art of facing both with fortitude, with resilience, with strength. So for this to happen, success particularly, we are told by Vedanta to first of all fix your area of excellence, talent. Every one of us is born with a unique talent, right? So let's say you have talent in singing, but you invest your energies in an engineering course and you fail. Now, you have set your benchmark wrongly of success. So what you have to do is identify your passion and go back to music. You will excel in music. So that's one very important factor. Most of us choose fields based on where we think we'll make money.
Or peer pressure.
Yeah. Or family pressure.
For family.
So that's wrong. You have to go back and analyze your own nature, and then in that you will do the best. Secondly, success doesn't depend on an outward measure of how much money you get or how much fame you get. Success is how you feel about yourself. So let's say I am an athlete and I set the Olympic goal as my goal. And I do my very best. If let's say I'm a gymnast. Now, whether I'm selected to go to the Olympics or not is not in my hands. Someone else selects. And even if I participate, whether I get the gold or not is not in my hands. It depends on how the others perform. So, what is the point of measuring my success based on factors over which I have no control? Instead, enjoy every bit of the toil itself, the struggle, and you reach your own standard of excellence. So I know that I am an outstanding athlete. It doesn't matter what other people think. Nobody, yes, I can be denied entry into the Olympics, I can be denied the Olympic gold, but nobody can take away the fact that I am an outstanding gymnast.
And I'm going to put in all my efforts to the best of my abilities.
And in that, I find fulfillment. In that, I grow. I grow as a person. I grow spiritually.
And you're so right. See, that's what Karmanyavadikaraste is all about, right? You put your efforts and the results are really so not up to you.
Yes. So when you become free from the result, that's what the 6th chapter of the Gita says. Who is a sannyasi? One who does what one ought to do based on one's talent without depending on the fruit. He's a sannyasi. He's a yogi. Doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, what your wardrobe is, or what your location is, and what language you speak. So once we understand this, then we understand what is the meaning of true Indian culture. So you could be living in the United States, you could be wearing Western clothes, you could be eating Western food, you could be speaking English, but at the core of your personality, if you have imbibed this technique and you're living it, you are Indian. So what is the meaning of being Indian? We don't know. And we try and hang on to things that are peripheral.
Clothes and food and
And we don't learn the core of what we really need to absorb and live. And this is my mission. And this is the reason I am here in the US. And anyone who wants to partake of this knowledge, I'm in the US for a very short time, but we have webinars every Saturday evening open to everyone and they are free. All you have to do is visit our website and register and give your email ID and we send you the link every Saturday. Not only is it live every Saturday evening, India time, that time may or may not be convenient to you. So we keep it on YouTube for a week thereafter. So you can watch it at your convenience anytime during that week.
I was going to ask you how can that's fantastic.
And these are free.
I know that you're in Atlanta, one of the things that you're going to speak about is, Gita, so can you quickly tell us, summarize the Gita and its relevance to current times?
Yes, the Bhagavad Gita is often viewed as a relic of past times and therefore irrelevant to our lives. That's not true. The Bhagavad Gita, first of all, so for the purpose of this talk, we have taken 7 lessons from the Bhagavad Gita, 7 important lessons. It begins with the use of the intellect. We as human beings are gifted with 2 wonderful blessings. One is choice of action and the other is intellect. So we are the only species who can choose to be vegetarian, vegan, non-vegetarian, whatever. We can be kind and gentle, we can be horrific and cruel. That's our choice. We can be brilliant, we can choose to be dull. So this choice is difficult because the world has been designed in such a way that that which gives instant pleasure gives you sorrow in the end, and vice versa. So since we don't know this, we end up picking instant pleasures and signing up for a life of misery later. So the intellect has been given for us to figure out things, to discriminate, analyze, weigh the pros and cons, and arrive at a decision. Now, choice is a given. Even an infant makes a choice. But intellect, you need to use it consciously and develop it. Since we are not taught this, we end up making choices with a poorly developed intellect. And we make wrong choices at some. So this is number one. Use your intellect, develop it. Then comes contentment. We are not talking of a passive contentment in laziness. We are speaking of a contentment where the mind is calm while the body is acting dynamically. So, how can you make the mind calm? When you're acting on desire, you will be disturbed. Rise above desire, you'll be calm. When you think of yourself, you're discontent. Think of others, you're content. So we need to shift from grabbing to giving, from profiteering to offering. Then comes excellence, which we've spoken of. So we give the prescription for perfect action, which is enunciated in the 3rd chapter of the Gita. And what makes for excellence? Then oneness. The world emphasizes otherness, competitiveness, one-upmanship, and therefore there's discord in the world. Vedanta emphasizes harmonizing, oneness, to rise above differences and still see towards, which is the uniqueness in India. Every 50-100 meters, miles you look, they're all different. And yet there is an overriding feeling of oneness because we share the same values, the same culture. Diversity there is in the world. No two peacocks are alike, no two cows are alike. But the whole world is one. And we need to get to that state. Then comes knowledge. Knowledge of what? Not material things, but knowledge of the permanent feature of the world that pervades the impermanent and exists beyond in its pristine form. And that is something that all of us are seeking, but we don't know we are seeking, and we certainly don't know where it is. Then comes when you practice these three, which is sincerity of action, purity of heart, and clarity of thought. Then you become withdrawn from the world. It's a state of dispassionate passion, where you are dispassionate towards the world, yet you perform every action, every interaction passionately. You're objective. And that leads to renunciation. So we define what renunciation is. It's not giving up the things you treasure. It is growing to appreciate things that are more meaningful, that give you more happiness. It's like an athlete who turns his back on every indulgence because he has set his eyes on the Wimbledon trophy. And the last is happiness. So we give the formula for happiness.
Pursuit of happiness.
So the formula for happiness by which we gain absolute bliss. So this is it. And the second talk is on relationships. We've already spoken about that.
Thank you so much, Jaya ji, for talking to us today. And please give us more information about your website so we can, so whoever is interested can register.
Okay. So our website is vedantavision.org. vedantavision.org. And please do visit our website. We have valuable articles. You can register for the webinars there. You can also leave your message on WhatsApp. We send out inspiring quotes, reels, and short videos. We are active on social media under Vedanta Vision, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc. There again, we post inspiring quotes and videos. So the idea is to spread this knowledge.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jaya,
Thank
for
you.
talking to NRI Pulse.